The former Japanese Prime Minister, Abe Shinzo, was assassinated on July 8 while making a campaign speech, just 2 days before the parliamentary election on July 10. In response to the incident, Japanese Prime Minister Kishida declared on the 11th that he would quicken the Pacific Constitution's amendment. What, however, is the Pacific Constitution, and why is it in need of amendment? Pacific Constitution. After losing the Second World War, Japan was ruled by the supreme headquarters of Allied forces, in which the power was concentrated on the U.S. Similar to how another country took charge of operating Japan instead of the Japanese government when another country operates a country, we call it indirect rule. The supreme headquarters of Allied forces and the Japanese government amended Japan's constitution at that time to forbid Japan from causing another war. Such a constitution was named the Pacific Constitution. The main contents include the permanent ban on the formation of the military, war, and the use of armed forces. The self-defense forces of Japan. Does this imply that Japan has no military forces at all? The constitution was changed, but Japan was still unable to establish a military. However, it still required a group of people to safeguard the country and its citizens. Japan thus established self-defense forces. So Japan forms self-defense forces. It protects the nation and its people, but is still different from the military. Self-defense forces can only protect Japan when the country is under attack. It cannot attack other countries. Amendment of Pacific Constitution. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida is trying to amend the Constitution. Abe Shinzo also tried to change the Pacific Constitution before. But why did he fail to do so? It is because 65% of Japanese citizens are against amending the Pacific Constitution. Thus, instead of amending the Constitution, the former Prime Minister passed the Act on Collective Self-Defense Rights. Collective self-defense refers to having the right to use armed force on another country when an attack on another country threatens Japan and is deemed an attack on Japan too. Then what kind of amendments does Prime Minister Kishida try to include in the Pacific Constitution? He is trying to give its self-defense forces the right to belligerency. If the amendments succeed, Japan can attack North Korea when a ballistic missile of North Korea falls on a sea near Japan. Experts are showing rising concern that war can happen on the Korean peninsula, including in North Korea, regardless of the intention of the South Korean government.